Okay, so today I'd like to talk about the Study in A minor by Mauro Giuliani. This is number 3 from his Opus 51, uh, Progressive Lessons. And this is one of my favorite pieces to teach people who are, sort of beyond the beginning level, but not, proficient yet, maybe in the intermediate level. Um, but it's a really fine piece of music, and also it's a wonderful study for both hands, but particularly the left, because it has to do with holding notes over while some notes move. You have to hold other notes for their full duration, which is for the left hand very confusing for most people at first. Okay, so the first phrase, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at durations of notes. We want to make sure that our durations of notes are as notated, right? So all the quarter notes that we see have to last until the next eighth note. Usually the difficulty isn't the eighth notes at all. It's just that the quarter notes, for most people, the quarter notes get forgotten about, the duration gets forgotten about, and we lift early, right? So this is the first phrase. So I'm holding my notes. Right? I'm holding my notes over bass line. Here, holding. Right? And that's the end of the phrase, downbeat of bar 15. Now, so you have to be really aware that you're not chopping notes off. This is commonly what happens. So as I move one finger, the tendency is to want to drop, right? And then here, something like this. Right? It seems like a subtle difference probably, but the fact of the matter is we really want to get these notes to ring full. That's the point of the study. So not that, very much be aware of if you're letting go of notes, to be aware of the duration of the notes that you're playing. This is the great thing about this study, is it gets us really attentive to durations of notes. Most people are very aware of when they play a note, but they're not very aware of when they let go of a note. This piece is about that. Okay, so we want to become very aware of when we let go of notes. Now, another thing about the left hand in this piece is to understand that many of the stretches which are difficult for students are difficult because the hand position isn't quite right. We have to keep the hand position quite close for the majority of this piece, meaning that you're not going to be playing like this, okay? One tip to understand here is that most of the bass notes, the majority of the bass notes, you don't have to play on the tip of your finger. Okay, if you feel that you have to play on the tip of your finger all the time, especially in the bass, you're going to be doing this with your wrist, right? And this is awkward, very awkward to play this way. So let the wrist relax, and you can play on the flat of your finger a lot more, especially on the bass notes, not necessarily the top notes, but the bass notes. So check out my third finger especially. Now here I do play on my tip because I have adjacent strings, but right here, flatter, flat, flat, right? Notice right here the fourth finger is quite flat. Also, my wrist turns to help this fourth finger reach, right? If I don't turn my wrist, I'll show you. If I stay here, I can do it, but it's just sort of awkward. So turn. Notice how much I'm turned here, right? That's to hold the note until I get this one down. Right? So that's another thing, to watch that, right? And finally, also another thing in this whole piece that we have to pay attention to is that we're reaching for our notes. That, you know, we're not jumping to notes, that we're reaching. You can see when I play this, especially on the top line, you can see that I'm reaching bass line now, right? So let me take it from the beginning. Reach, right? So any note that I'm about to play, I want to make sure I'm reaching for with my fingers. Every note that I'm about to play. That, for most people, is called preparation, but I do like to use the word reaching because it makes it a little bit more familiar to what we normally do in life, right? If I need something, I reach out for it, I grab it, right? I pick it up, I put it down. But it's very clear that I don't just grab something. I reach for it naturally. That's what we want to do here. So when I move, you can see reaching. Oh, sorry. Here we go. Reaching. Reaching. Stretch here, but it's a reach. That's another good reach. Notice my wrist comes and helps, right? So now we go to the second part, which starts really in the middle of bar 15, after the resolution. Now, the second half of bar 15, we have D, D, da, D, D, D goes to C major, D, da, 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 Let's say that's the end of that phrase. I mean, it seems to be, so let's stop there. That's at the end. That's at the downbeat of bar 27. Okay, so in this part, we learn a couple of things about both the left hand and the right hand. The right hand in this piece, alternation for the eighth notes is helpful. The right hand is not such a big deal really until we get to these sequences. There's a couple in this piece, and this is the first sequence, starting at bar, let's see, 15, 16, 17. Bar 18 is the sequence with the right hand. So because the pattern is the same musically, we can use a similar right hand pattern for those bars starting from 18 through 22, right? And what I would recommend is using A, M, I, M, 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 A, M, I. And I'll write in that fingering so you have it on the PDF as part of the video. But that's a nice consistent fingering, and it's a very good drill. Very good drill for a right hand study. Also, this piece gets a little bit more complicated for the left hand here because we start dealing with arpeggiated chords. So right again at that same bar, downbeat of 18, we have, he does a bar chord, and then here, this is a very, for a lot of people it's sort of hard to get this, but keep in mind that these chords can be done because they're arpeggios. The chords can be put down in the left hand one at a time. So I'm putting my fingers down, right? And now right here, one at a time, 3, 2, and 4. So I don't have to put everything down at once. Here's another one, a good one. 4, 2, whoops. That's bar 22. 1, 4, keeping 4 down, 2 and 1, and then 4. You can see 2 and 1 reach, right? And then 4 pulls back to get there. But it's very legato. Not this. Not that, right? Try to hold your notes and let the other fingers swing around while you're holding them, right? That's the point of the piece. And then we're back to sort of a normal writing, how we started the piece. Then he gets into some really nice sounds. That too is a sequence, right? So it's nice to have the right hand be consistent there too. That's bar 20, beginning of actually bar 28. A, M, I, A, M, I, A, M, I, P, I, P. One more time. Downbeat or pick up to bar 28. A, M, I, A, M, I, A, M, I, P, P. Okay, and that sequence is also really beautiful if you can keep the left-hand notes down for the full duration. This one. That one you have to let go a little bit early, but that's okay. Then we go on. Next phrase. Again, a chord that doesn't need to be down all at once. 1, 3, 2, 4. Now I'm going to talk about that. That's something that I do. I don't think Giuliani did this, but this is the fingering I use. I do. This is bar 36, 37. Bar 38. For this fingering, right? 3, 4, 2. Then 2 slides up. And we turn to the right with the wrist to get the third finger behind the second finger. Sort of a backward fingering, but one that I like to teach people because it teaches them about how the wrist can affect the fretting, right? If my wrist is centered, my third finger wants to be here. The more I turn my wrist to the right, the more I can share the frets or go behind the fret that I'm playing, right? So that move with the wrist is really important for us to take a look at here. So again, on let's take it from bar 37 and then watch. 4, 2, turn. Notice I'm to the sort of pulling to the left a little bit here, and that's fine, and then all the way to the right with my wrist. Now we go on. He does the same thing as before. Turn. Hold. Oops. Now we're at bar 49. So basically we have all the same music until measure 49. And in measure 49, it's a repetitive melodic idea. And physically, for the left hand, I recommend holding the second finger on the A while the other fingers move around. So we're just going to keep this one down. Then we can lift. Okay? for the right hand, because the top line is repetitive, it's a sequence over and over again, I would like to use a repetitive right hand fingering. I am A M, I am A M, I am A M, I am I am. So the last bar is different. But I am A M, I am A M, I am A M, I am I am I Right? That is basically the idea. So that's the physical aspects of the piece I want to talk about in terms of technique. How do I play it cleanly? You know, that's what we were just talking about it. However, that's not going to make the piece, obviously. So one thing to understand about this piece is musically it's dealing with appoggiaturas throughout. Now, an appoggiatura is a non-harmonic tone. It's a tone that's outside the harmony, which gets which lands on a strong beat, and then the resolution tone is after that, right? And it should instill in the listener a sense of push and release, right? Like tension release. That's what it should feel like. So this piece, to do this is sort of flat, right? I do this. Right? It doesn't really, it just sounds like I'm just walking out, you know, like it's a normal day. But this piece, with these appoggiaturas, you want to show off the appoggiaturas. So the appoggiaturas are wherever it's sort of dissonant, that's dissonant. Right? So I hold the note a little bit. I also split between the bass and the top quite a bit. This. So it feels like when you do it and you get the feel of it, it almost sounds a bit lopsided, you know. Personally, I think that's a very inventive and a beautiful way to deal with appoggiaturas, is to play with the rhythm, to work with splitting notes to create effects of just to sort of get the swing to be not so even, you know. So we're always a little bit uncertain about what's going to happen in the rhythm. If you can develop that technique even a little bit with this, it's very fun to play with that, you know, and I recommend that to people. Also, when he does sequences, it's nice to sort of show that off with let it, you know, sort of just travel. Then so pushing and pulling in the phrasing in this piece is really helpful, and it definitely helps give it the character of agitato, you know, which is agitated. It's not even relaxed. It needs a sense of drama to it, you know, and we can give that drama by playing with this rhythmically and being aware of accents, you know. This accent, release. Accent, release. Etc. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. you know, there's a lot I can talk about in this piece, obviously, and I hope this lesson was helpful. I will put the PDF up on YouTube so you can take a look. I'm going to be using a great edition by David Nadal. It's called Guitar Classics. The piece is in there. I would highly recommend getting this book. Obviously, this is a very well-worn copy. This book is very inexpensive, and it has a lot of good music. And the print is wonderful, and the edition is just top-notch. So I'm used this book a lot with students, and I would recommend it if you don't have it. Okay, that's it for now. We'll see you again for another lesson soon. I'll be doing more videos more frequently, as you might have noticed. So I'll see you again soon, and thanks for watching.